Ranking Member.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In 2017, as some of you may recall, one of Trump's first official actions as president was to issue the chaotic executive order barring any travel from 7 predominantly Muslim countries, effectively serving as a Muslim ban. He continued these attacks on immigrant communities throughout his presidency. And he has promised to strip immigrants, if elected again, of their benefits and work permits, execute the largest deportation effort in American history, strip immigrant children of American citizenship, even if they're born here, and reinstate and expand the Muslim ban. Ms. Troy, you were an advisor in the White House when the Muslim travel ban was implemented. Can you tell us, as a national security expert, what happened when that ban took place? Was there advice given before the president issued that?
Sure, there were numerous discussions, and just to clarify, during the travel ban time, I was at DHS. I was the lead intelligence officer on the travel ban, coordinating the entire community. There were significant discussions on intelligence assessments conducted. I will say that there were heated discussions and meetings where members of the Trump administration, loyalists who wanted to override community intelligence assessments to suit the countries that they wanted on the list. There was significant pushback. There was advice from career intelligence officers, senior intelligence officers like myself, about the threshold of these assessments. I will tell you that it went to the extent where there were senior officials Googling what they considered to be intelligence input and sending it to me to be included in official community coordinated intelligence assessments and saying that those were facts, which was appalling to me because that is not how the intelligence community, it's not how we operate. So there were numerous situations like that where that was the kind of dynamic that we faced on critical issues like this, which impact numerous matters of national security that I can't get into because they're classified, but those matters of national security when discussing certain countries and the impacts of the travel ban were serious, and they were raised.
So in the execution of that travel ban, can you explain to us or share with us the interagency actions in the immediate announcement of the travel ban? Was this something that had been worked through?
No.
How did that happen?
No, we were blindsided by when it was issued, especially at DHS. As you saw, it was horrible. There was chaos at the airports, which you saw. We did not have the proper time to figure out how we were going to implement this executive order. There was no coordination of how we would carry these things out, especially in the aftermath of it. I remember CBP agents sitting at airports and TSA, like everyone was mass confusion about what was happening. The leadership of the department was not consulted or given a heads up. That is kind of how that played out at the beginning.
And this is from a newly elected president who did not understand the levers of power that he had upon coming into office. I can only imagine in the next administration, should he be elected, what he would do understanding that. An individual who has a long history of racist controversies, who has xenophobia in his usage of what he has done. 1991 book by John O'Donnell in Trump's criticism of a black accountant. He says, "Black guys counting my money, I hate it. The only kind of people I want counting my money are short guys that wear yarmulkes every day. I think that the guy is lazy, and it's probably not his fault because laziness is a trait in blacks. It really is. I believe it's out of his control." And when questioned about it, he said, "The stuff O'Donnell said about me is probably true." This is an individual who, when he was in the White House, denied making the comment about shithole countries that people should go back to, although senators, US senators, present at the meeting said that it would happen. Ms. Troy, you signed a statement with over 130 national security experts that explained how Trump had routinely vilified immigrants in this country, which among other things makes him unfit to be the commander-in-chief. Many of us are offended when he demonizes individuals, immigrants from a moral and personal perspective. But what effect does it practically have on national security stability when Trump broadly demonizes immigrant groups in this country?
Well, I am the daughter of immigrants. My mom is a Mexican immigrant, and I am of Mexican descent, and I will say...
Which the president said were rapists, right?
Correct. I remember that. And I will say that it leads to anti-immigrant sentiment. It leads to attacks on immigrants. It leads to situations like when they repeat the Great Replacement narratives. It leads to mass shootings, like the one in El Paso at the Walmart where my aunt was in, when the shooter talked about the Hispanic invasion of Texas. It leads to situations like that. It leads to the violence and hate that you are continuing to see in the divisiveness of this country. I will tell you that it also speaks to another scenario that I remember clearly was when Trump kept calling it the China virus, and he did it on purpose, and it was the attacks on Asian people in this country increased during the pandemic. That is one thing that I know was recognized internally in the White House, that rhetoric would increase attacks on Asian Americans here, Asians in our country. I will tell you that Mike Pence took that very seriously. He did not use that lingo because he knew that it would lead to these types of hateful acts that we're still seeing in our country today.
The gentleman yields back. We have one more.